Hi, everyone. It's Ellen March with Sulky of America, and happy National Quilting Month. March is National Quilting Month, and if you can believe it, it's March 3rd already. I can hardly get over it. But exciting things on the horizon all month long from Sulky. We're going to have some great tutorials on the blog. We're going to have some amazing sales all month long on our favorite quilting products. And you'll learn a bunch of great quilting techniques to sort of up your game. Or if you're a beginner quilter or want to start quilting, you'll get some really great reference materials and sort of basic knowledge to apply to all of your sewing and quilting endeavors. So it's a great start to the month with National Quilting Month, and I'm really excited. We actually had a post go live yesterday on the blog that has 5 really great beginner quilt patterns. Now, even though they say beginner quilt patterns, of course, anyone of any skill level can make these. You don't have to be a beginner. We just wanted to kind of start out slow and start out welcoming people who may not be quilters already, but want to give it a go. Or maybe you have a friend who's expecting a baby and you want to make a great little keepsake or a floor mat or something like that for the baby with some precious fabrics. So these patterns are really great for that and really great for just kind of learning the whole process of piecing together fabrics and quilting through layers of batting using things like a walking foot on your sewing machine. How many of you have a walking foot or even have used one before? It just makes your quilting so much easier, and it really tames the fabrics. A walking foot helps guide all those layers of fabric through your machine really evenly. So the top of the foot is grasping onto the fabric just like the feed dogs are, feeding those layers through the machine while you're sewing. So you don't have any problems with that upper layer sort of shifting around while you're sewing. But another great product to help you out with that, if you happen to experience that, is the Sulky KK2000. Now, I always use this when I am quilting. This is my spray basting. It is a temporary spray adhesive that is air soluble. So after a while, about a day or so, it's actually going to dissipate into the air. So you don't have any sort of sticky residue left in your quilt. It doesn't gum up your needle while you're sewing. You can apply and then reapply. You can apply it and then replace your fabric if you need to kind of smooth it out again. So the only thing to know with this, which is one of my favorite quilting products, we're going to talk about a few more, but the only thing to know with this is if it's going to take you a few days to get through the quilting, you'll need to reapply it because, like I said, it is air soluble. So if you're going to come back to your quilt 3-4 days later to finish it up or work on it again, you'll need to check and reapply some of the spray so that, it's working again. So yeah, we've got these 5 fun beginner quilt patterns. Like I said, they're suitable for any skill level of quilter. Some of them feature some half square triangles, which is a really fun, easy little block to learn. You can cut them all assembly line style using your rotary cutter, mat, and ruler. And learning the fundamentals of cutting half square triangles, it doesn't seem very difficult. You have your square and you're cutting it diagonally and then sewing it to another fabric to have these half square triangle blocks. It doesn't sound complicated, and really it's not. The main thing you need to realize is that you need a seam allowance. I think a lot of beginners don't quite understand the whole need for a seam allowance. And then that can cause your quilt to be a little off kilter or your seams not matching up properly when you haven't accounted for your seam allowances within your block. So that's really the biggest sort of learning curve as far as piecing blocks together, in my opinion. So Let's talk a little bit more about some of my other favorite quilting products. Throughout the month, we're going to have some great sales where you can grab up a lot of these products as well. So my favorite thread for piecing when I'm quilting, here's a question for you out there. As you're coming into the live feed and commenting, please let me know. Are you still considered a quilter if all you do is piece and you send your quilts away to be quilted? Does that mean you are not technically a quilter? Or are you a quilter because you're making the quilt? I've always kind of struggled with this. So let me know your thoughts. I think you're a quilter if you're just making a quilt, no matter if you're just piecing it together, if you're making the pattern, if you're doing the actual quilting. I think all of the above makes you a quilter. Okay, so back to my favorite thread for piecing. It is the 50 weight cotton by Sulky. It's cotton and steel thread by Sulky. And the 50 weight makes it a little bit finer. And so when you are using it for piecing and pressing open seams or pressing seams to one side, you can get a really, really crisp, nice finished seam, making it easier for you to match up seams when you are making a patchwork quilt. So I really like the weight of this thread for that purpose. And also it comes in all these luscious colors. You can see that my box is sort of empty. I am in need of replenishing some colors, but I still do have this aqua color. I'm really excited about that because I am getting started on a little quilted wall hanging for Easter. And I'm going to be using this really cute cotton and steel bunny print. Isn't that cute? It's a little bit modern and quirky looking bunny. And I haven't quite decided what phrase I'm going to use for the center of my wall hanging. I'm going to do some hand embroidery in the center and then do some piecing around the edges. I'll definitely show you guys the process and the progress of it. But at any rate, you know, the Sulky thread matches perfectly with the cotton and steel fabrics. So I've got my teal here, which is going to just go perfectly with the fabric that I've chosen. And then, you know, for the hand embroidery, I'm going to use a little bit thicker thread. So that being said, when we are doing the actual quilting, which is, you know, the pretty stitches that are on the outside of the quilt, whether we are making those stitches really pop by choosing a 30 weight or even a 12 weight thread so that all that stitching is really pronounced and beautiful on the surface of the quilt. Or you could even use the 50 weight thread for the actual quilting. And then it sort of blends in with the fabric even more. And you still have that dimensional quality that the quilting gives you, but the 50 weight thread just kind of, it doesn't really sink into the fabric, but it just complements the design so well. So I like to use 30 weight for actual quilting. I mean, it really depends on the quilt, obviously. But what I love about the Sulky 30 weight line is that they're also available in blendables. Can you all see that? Now, this is different from a traditional variegated thread. This is a blendable thread. And the difference is that this thread is dyed randomly every about 2.5 to 5 inches across the thread. So you aren't going to get those repeating patterns of color across your quilt when you're quilting, especially if you're doing straight line quilting, piano key quilting, matchstick quilting. You don't want the same exact color repeat going down the width or length of your quilt. So if you choose a blendable, it's going to be totally random across your whole quilt. And I absolutely love that. So you guys definitely try some 30 weight blendables for your quilting. And also, if you send your quilts out to be quilted by a professional or by a friend who has a long arm machine or something like that, you know, there's no harm in giving them the thread to use as well. I'm sure they have their own that they prefer or use in their machine, but in my experience, they want to try out the new stuff too. And so if you bring a blendable that goes with your fabric selection perfectly, no harm in bringing the thread along and making sure that that's used for the quilting. So love that thread. My other favorite product for quilting is Sulky Paper Solvy. And you guys might might be sick of me talking about this already because I love this product so very much. If you do foundation paper piecing, or if you want to try foundation paper piecing, now let me rewind. Foundation paper piecing is when you are printing a quilt pattern onto a sheet of paper and you're sewing through that paper to create sort of a patchwork design. Okay, so if you Google foundation paper piecing, you'll see tons of patterns out there that you are required to print out. Sometimes you need to tape them together. Sometimes you just sew the pieces together to create a larger piece that doesn't fit on, say, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So when you are finished sewing, on the wrong side of your work, you'll have all these pieces of paper that you've sewn together because you're following this pattern with your stitching. When you use Paper Solvy, you wash away the paper entirely. You don't have to get your tweezers out and pick out all those pieces of paper behind your fabrics, which sometimes can compromise the stitching. Let's be real. If you're tugging on a piece of paper and it's stuck in the seam, you could kind of rip out that seam a little bit if you're vigorously doing it like I do sometimes. So I have really found that Paper Solvy is, God's gift to foundation paper piecing. Okay, so grab some of this. It comes in 8.5 by 11 sheets. You load it into your printer just like you would normal paper. Print your pattern directly on it, and then follow the instructions from your pattern to piece together your beautiful quilt accent or the quilt itself. So again, my favorite products for quilting, to recap: the KK2000, gotta have this. The 50 weight cotton thread, cotton and steel thread by Sulky, great for piecing. The 30 weight blendables, great quilting thread, super cool effects. There are tons of colorways at sulky.com that you can choose from. And the Paper Solvy. So that's my sort of product review for today. I'll be bringing you lots more great products for quilting and ideas for quilting as we progress throughout the month. But I do also want to talk about our fantastic webinar that we have today. It's webinar day, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So in a little over an hour, we will be hosting our live webinar. And our webinar today is with Brittany and Julie Love of Stitches of Love Quilting. Here is Brittany and Julie. They're so cute. So Stitches of Love is a company that specializes in machine applique patterns and laser cut quilt kits. And they are just so talented. They have the cutest designs. You guys will absolutely love it. And they have a wonderful eye for putting fabrics together into great combinations, and their kits are just the cutest things. So we thought you guys would really, really love hearing from them today. And the project that we are doing, really the techniques we are focusing on are machine applique. So you're going to learn some really great tips from them about starting and stopping your stitches when you are doing your machine applique, the threads that they recommend to use, all kinds of products that will help you make the process easier, faster, more fun, that type of thing. And we are going to be working through one of their laser cut patterns. So the pattern that we are working through is called Love to Sew. Love it. So here is what the pillow ultimately looks like. And here are the really, really cute little sewing themed applique pieces. You've got your tomato pin cushion and your little scissors and the thread spools. I mean, how cute is this? And some specialty ribbon on the cute pillow and some rickrack. I mean, it has kind of a vintage vibe, but it's so, so cute. This would look great, you know, in your sewing room, on your chair, or, you know, your front room, or even just your couch, you know, and show your love of sewing. It's just the cutest things. So love that. I do want to mention also that the kit for today's webinar includes all that you need for this pillow. You won't get your pillow form and you won't get the bobbin thread that you need, but everything else is included in the kit. And we'll be talking about that today in the webinar and how to effectively use your kit to make this pillow. So like I mentioned, Stitches of Love does a lot of these laser cut applique kits, which are such big time savers. Am I right? I mean, you saw all the little pieces that make up that cute little sewing spray on the pillow. And can you imagine cutting out all of those pieces and fusing them and all of that to get them on your pillow? I mean, it certainly can be done, and we're going to learn about it today. But I just want to show you a little bit. This is what the laser cut pieces look like. So they're like pre-cut, and you sort of punch them out. You really just slide the pieces out with your hands, and they're precision cut and ready to go, ready to fuse onto your background fabric. So huge time saver. And I love working with kits like this because you can get to the sewing so much faster. You don't have tons and tons of prep work, which a lot of the times is the really, you know, mundane stuff that takes the most time. So give me a shout out if you've tried a laser cut kit before and you know just how fun and easy it makes your sewing process. I'm excited for you guys to see it in action and to get to hear from Brittany and Julie themselves about sort of their process and how they have really perfected the art of machine applique with their years of experience. And, you know, they're great, great teachers. They have a great YouTube channel where they do a lot of tutorials that are super beneficial for your sewing and quilting. So I'm just going to check over here and see if we need to answer some questions and see what has come in. All right. Why is this Solvay superior? Tell about it. Okay, so I believe that's got to be in response to the paper Solvay. So the reason that I love paper Solvay so much is because it literally feels like a thin sheet of paper. And you can print directly on it. You can sew directly through it. And then, like I said, it rinses completely away. You can actually leave it in your quilt blocks. If you're doing all foundation paper pieced blocks, you can leave it in the whole quilt top, which adds stability while you're sewing and quilting. And then after your quilt is all done and bound and finished, you can throw it in the washing machine on delicate, rinse all the Solvay away, and there will be no trace of it whatsoever once it's dried. So I just think it is, talk about time saver. It's a big time saver, and it's really helpful in the whole quilt process if you're doing paper piecing. So that's why I think it is superior. I've never encountered another product that does that. So you should definitely try it. I absolutely love it. And we have a bunch of blog posts teaching you how to use it with some sort of intro paper piecing patterns. So you can give it a try for yourself and see how you like it. Okay. Oh, I do want to mention someone saying they've registered for the webinar, but they won't be able to attend. So if you can't make it at 2 p.m. Eastern time today, All of our webinars always switch to an on-demand format once the live event has ended. So you can always watch it on demand after at your leisure. I do want to mention though, we have great product specials. I talked about the kit a little bit earlier today. You're going to get the kit today for almost half off. I mean, it's the craziest deal. It's almost like paying for the thread and getting everything else for free. It's like an amazing deal that you're getting today. Sneak peek. Okay. So you can only access those deals until midnight tonight. So even if you can't watch the webinar yet and you think you're going to love this project, or you know you're going to want the kit, go ahead and grab the kit while it's on sale today and then watch the webinar at your leisure when you have time. So make sure you register, because you're going to get some freebies today that are pretty amazing, and you need to be a registrant in order to access those freebies. It'll take you to the Go to Webcast portal, and once it's on demand and you're viewing it, you can click around, download the freebies, get extra information, learn about all the web specials. So you need to register in order to sort of access all of that. So just make sure you've kind of signed up, and don't worry about watching it live. There are some perks to watching it live, though. We do give away some door prizes, and they're pretty great. The door prizes for today's event have a super high retail value. So if you are able to join in, you do have to be present to be able to win those door prizes. So that is sort of the perk of being able to watch it live. But otherwise, you get so much information in today's webinar. I have learned so much from Brittany and Julie already, just going through all the great videos that they've prepared for today. And I think you guys are really, really going to love it. I mean, how cute is that pillow? So, all right, we've got the link up to the pillow kit so you guys can check it out. It's in the comments of the post today. Also, the link for the webinar. And I think we should be all set. I can show you another really cute picture of the pillow. I think if I can get it loaded. Here we go. Yeah, here's the whole pillow, so you can see from side to side the little sewing spray. And there's some bees and flowers and a thimble, and the little thread spools with the striped fabric are so, so cute. So I think you guys are just really going to love it. All right, and then we've got our little close-up so you can see. That little pin cushion is probably my favorite. And I don't know if you can see it from your screen, but at the top of the little pin cushion are these little tiny buttons that are representing the top of the pins in the pin cushion. So cute. And those all come with the kit as well. You'll get the Stitches of Love applique kit, which has all the little pieces already pre-cut and the little buttons. You get your ribbon, your rickrack, all this cute Riley Blake fabric for the base of your pillow. And I just can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I would love to see the finished result once you've made your pillow as well. So make sure that you tag us, and you can use the hashtag SewBetterWithSulky, and we will be sure to see your makes and repost and share. We definitely love hearing from you guys all the time. So if you have any questions about accessing the webinar today, you can email us at info@sulky.com, and we will help you out. And we will see you for the webinar in about 1 hour. So make sure that you register, and we will see you then.